Where were these found, guys?
Green one on the left side there, red one on the right side.
231. 231.
Dodnes se vedou debaty, zda s úmrtím chlapců nemá co dočiní tzv. West Memphiská trojce. Damien Echols, Jason Baldwin a Jesse Miskelly. V dokumentu HBO Ztracený ráj tehdy přítelkyně Jesseho otce v době procesu pochybovala o Jesseho nevině. Damien, Jason i Jesse nebyli žádná nevinátka a měli za sebou spousty průšvihů. Jesse měl pověst rváče. Během procesu to mohlo vypadat, že se chovají arogantně, pohrdavě a že necítí žádnou lítost. Jak později řekl Damien, bral to jako hon na čarodějnice a po celou dobu procesu vůbec nevěřil, že ji může soud skutečně odsoudit k trestu smrti bez jediného hmatatelného důkazu.
We, the jury, find Damien Echols guilty of capital murder in the death of Chris Byers. We, the jury, find Damien Echols guilty of capital murder in the death of Michael Moore.
Bral to, jako by bojoval s celým systémem. Před vynesením rozsudku se právník Jasona Baldwina zeptal, jestli si myslí, že Damien ty kluky zabil. Jason odpověděl, že neví.
Do you think that this will change at all? How you choose your friends?
Yeah.
What do you think this would do? What do you think this is going to do to you and Damien, you and your friendship with Damien?
Stop it, I guess. Yes.
Would you stop being his friend?
I wouldn't be his enemy, but after this, we probably wouldn't be around or that.
You heard what was said about him. You think you could have done it?
About what they said?
Yeah, do you think Damien could have killed those little boys?
They made it seem like he did.
What do you think?
I don't know.
If you were on that jury, would you have a hard time letting him go? Based on what you heard?
Yeah.
I would too. Would you let yourself go?
Yeah. If I was up there, I'd let myself go, definitely.
That's the answer I wanted to hear. Because you know you didn't do it, don't you?
Yeah.
Popravdě jsem čekal okamžitou odpověď, že určitě ne a že s tím nemá nic společného. Jason a Damien byli v té době nejlepší kamarádi. V jezeře poblíž bydliště Jasona Baldwina byl nalezen lovecký nůž, o kterém obžaloba tvrdila, že může být vražednou zbraní. To se ale nikdy nepotvrdilo a nůž mohl patřit komukoliv. Žádné fyzické důkazy o tom, že by do zapojení vražd měla co dočinění West Memphiská trojice, nejsou. Bohužel v dokumentu ani nikde jinde se mi nepodařilo zjistit, co ten den Damien, Jason a Jesse dělali. A jak to, že ani jeden nemá na den vražd alibi. I tak se ale přikláním k názoru, že jsou nevinní. Nyní, když jsou již na svobodě, tak se stále snaží dopátrat pravdy. Právníci Damiena Echolse žádají o přezkoumání důkazů. Echolsovi právníci se v lednu 2023 odvolali k Arkansaskému nejvyššímu soudu. V dubnu 2023 nejvyšší soud státu rozhodl ve prospěch Echolsova odvolání za účelem provedení testů DNA. West Memphiská trojice se tedy nebrání o dalším provedení testů DNA nalezených na místě činu. Pokud by s tím měli něco společného, proč by se tak vehementně snažili o obnovu procesu? Kdyby se nalezla v důkazech DNA jednoho z nich, rázem by se vše obrátilo proti nim. Vrah, který chlapce zabil, tedy zničil život i dalším 3. Objevila se široká kritika postupu policie na místě činu. Miss Kellyho bývalý advokát Dan Stidham uvádí několik zásadních chyb policie na místě činu a charakterizuje ho jako doslova spackané, zejména u koryta potoka. Těla byla podle něj vytažena z vody ještě před příjezdem koronera, který měl místo ohledat a určit posmrtnou stůhlost. Vytažením z vody umožnilo, aby se těla rozkládala na břehu potoka a byla vystavena slunečnímu záření a hmyzu. Policie zavolala koronerovi až téměř 2 hodiny po nálezu plovoucí boty. Policejní složky včas nevypustily potok a nezajistily případné důkazy ve vodě. Po vytažení těl z vody byl potok zasypán pytli s pískem. Dan Stidham označil vyšetřování koronera za extrémně nestandardní. Na místě činu bylo nalezeno malé množství krve, které nebylo nikdy testováno. Podle dokumentů HBO Ztracený ráj vraždy dětí v Robin Hood Hills nebyla na místě činu nalezená žádná krev, což naznačuje, že místo, kde byla nalezena těla, nemusí být nutně místem, kde k vraždám skutečně došlo. Podle známé investigativní reportérky Mary Leverett byl v policejních záznamech nepořádek. Nazvat je nepořádkem by bylo mírně řečeno. Leverett spekulovala, že malý místní policejní sbor byl zahlcen zločinem, který se nepodobal žádnému, který kdy vyšetřovali. West Memphiská policie odmítla nevyžádanou nabídku pomoci a konzultace od odborníků na násilné trestné činy z Arkansaské státní policie. Dále poznamenala, že některé z hmotných důkazů byly uloženy v papírových pytlích získaných v supermarketu, nikoli v nádobách známého a kontrolovaného původu. John Douglas, bývalý dlouholetý agent FBI a současný kriminální profilovač, uvedl, že vraždy svědčí spíše o jediném vrahovi, který měl v úmyslu oběti ponížit a potrestat, než o trojici nesehraných teenagerů. Douglas se domníval, že pachatel měl za sebou násilnou minulost a byl obeznámen s oběťmi i místní geografií. Oblast musel dobře znát. Douglas působil v FBI 25 let. Ve své zprávě pro Ecclesův právní tým uvedl, že neexistují žádné důkazy o tom, že by vraždy souvisely se satanistickými rituály a že údajná zranění nožem by mohla vysvětlit posmrtná predace zvířaty. Dále uvedl, že oběti zemřely v důsledku kombinace tupého poranění a utonutí při zločinu, který byl podle něj veden osobními důvody. Mezi hlavními podezřelými figuruje i John Mark Byers, adoptivní otec Christopha Byerse, který věnoval nůž kameramanovi Dougu Cooperovi, který při natáčení prvního celovečerního filmu Ztracený ráj pracoval s dokumentaristy Joem Berlingerem a Brucem Sinovským. Jednalo se o zavírací lovecký nůž vyrobený společností Kershaw. Podle výpovědí Berlingera a Sinovského je Cooper o převzetí nože informoval 19. prosince 1993. Po návratu dokumentárního štábu do New Yorku objevili na noži něco, co vypadalo jako zaschlá krev. Vedení HBO jim nařídilo, aby nůž předali policejnímu oddělení ve West Memphisu. Policejní oddělení nůž obdrželo až 8. ledna 1994. Byers zpočátku tvrdil, že nůž nebyl nikdy použit. Poté, co byla na noži nalezena krev, však Byers uvedl, že ji použil pouze jednou, a to k porcování jeleního masa. Když mu bylo řečeno, že krev odpovídá jeho i Chrisově krevní skupině, řekl, že netuší, jak se tato krev mohla na nůž dostat. Během výslechu policie ve West Memphisu Byersovi navrhla, že nůž mohl nechat venku náhodou a Christopher ho mohl vzít a omylem se říznout. Byers s touto verzí souhlasil. Později zase uvedl, že se možná řízl do palce. Další testování nože přineslo neprůkazné výsledky ohledně zdroje krve. Nejistota přetrvávala kvůli malému množství krve a proto, že John Mark Byers i Chris Byers měli stejný genotyp.
Mr. Byers, I need to ask you about defense exhibit number E6, this particular folding lock blade Kershaw knife. If I could approach the witness, Your Honor.
Yes.
Take a look at that knife, please. Had that knife ever been used before?
Used for what?
Used for any purpose?
I'd had trimmed your toenails with it. I had attempted to trim on some venison that I had.
You attempted to trim on some venison. When was it you attempted to trim on some venison?
Somewhere time around the Thanksgiving holidays.
Do you recall being asked on January the 26th, this is on page 3, by Inspector Gitchell, had you ever taken that knife hunting or used it recently? You remember being asked that question by Inspector Gitchell?
Specifically, no, sir. He asked me a lot of questions.
All right. Do you remember giving the answer, no, that knife had not been used at all. It had just been kept up, put in my dresser, and I didn't use it. And the reason why was because of the serrated edges. Do you recall giving that answer to Inspector Gitchell on the 26th?
No, sir, I don't recall giving him that exact answer. I'm sure his question wouldn't have been asked exactly like your question was.
All right. Did Gitchell tell you, let me explain a problem we had, and you need to answer this for me. We have found blood on this knife. Did Gitchell ask you that question?
I don't remember if he said there was or not.
Did you tell Gitchell you had no idea how Chris's blood could be on that knife?
Yes, sir, I would not have any idea. If his blood was on that knife, I would not know how it got there.
Did you have any idea how human blood was on that knife?
Well, yes, I would have an idea. I cut my thumb.
All right. Isn't it true that you never told Inspector Gitchell on January 26th that you ever cut your thumb with that particular knife? Did you?
Yes, sir. It seems like during the course of the day I did tell him that.
Okay, was that during the taped conversation, or was that after?
I don't remember.
Okay. On the top of page 8, do you recall being asked the question, I have no idea how it could have any human blood on it? Do you recall giving that answer?
Yes, sir.
Then do you recall stating, I don't even remember nicking myself with it, cutting the deer meat or anything? Is that the answer you gave?
Yes, sir.
And is that the truth?
At the time when he was questioning me, I didn't I mean, I might not have remembered. We were getting ready to go into a trial.
Did you remember on this date cutting yourself with the venison or not cutting yourself?
The date that Gary questioned.
The date that Gary questioned, yes, sir.
I might not have remembered it at that time when he was questioning me, but I could have remembered it later on in the day and talked to him about it.
Okay. Earlier that afternoon, had you given Chris a whipping?
Approximately around 5:30.
So this was about 5:30, and was this with a belt?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And approximately how many times did you hit him with a belt?
I spanked him 2 or 3 times.
Okay. And what part of the body did you spank him?
It would have been just on his behind.
Okay. Was he wearing his pants, or did you have him pull his pants down?
No, he had on blue jeans.
Okay.
Byers během natáčení filmu Ztracený ráj, druhá část, souhlasil s testem na detektoru lži ohledně vražd a úspěšně jim prošel. Podle všeho byl ale Byers pod vlivem několika psychoaktivních léků na předpis, které mohly ovlivnit výsledky testu.
Mark, you feeling better? You got that arm straightened out and had that smoke. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, sir.
I don't, according to what we have here, the response is on the chart. I feel you're telling the truth about the issues we worked with as far as you see them. As you see them.
Give me a high five. Thank you. I knew it was right. I knew I was innocent. And to all of you morons, fools, and idiots that thought I had anything to do with it, I am now vindicated. Maybe this will serve a point to some of y'all. And I feel sorry, my heart goes out to the victims that have to be put through things such as this. To just already try to clear my name when it's already been vindicated once. Now it's been vindicated twice by a professional who I have the utmost respect for. And I want each and every one of you devil worshippers to know that you are wrong and you need to go on another ghost hunt and leave me alone.
V dokumentu Ztracený ráj byl Byersovi dáno mnoho prostoru. Mnohdy se choval velice bizarně.
You butchered my babies out here? I swore I'd stand at your grave and cuss it. Well, I'm doing it a little bit early. I'm gonna bury you 3 bastards right here and send you to hell. This crime scene tape, I come off what they stretched in front of me when they found my babies out here. Wouldn't let me by. I thought it was just fitting to bring it back to your memorial fund. Jesse, you got your flyers. That's your head marker, you animal. Damien. Jason, there's yours. You want to worship the devil? See him. I'm going to give you a farewell party. Now we're going to have some fun.
Před svatbou s Melisou Defírovou byl John Byers ženatý se Sandrou Byersovou. Se Sandrou měl 2 děti, chlapce a dívku. V roce 1989 byl John Byers ženatý s Melisou a byla proti němu vznesena řada obvinění z trestných činů souvisejících s jeho zacházením s bývalou manželkou a dětmi. Sandra oznámila své obavy, že se domnívá, že John Byers je do vražd zapleten. Před vraždami 3 chlapců byl Byers obviněn z trestných činů souvisejících s výhruškami, krádežemi a užíváním drog. Jedno z vyhrožování se týkalo domácího sporu mezi Byersem a jeho první manželkou Sandrou. V roce 1988 ji údajně vyhrožoval smrtí a napadl ji taserem. V roce 1973 zavolali rodiče Johna Marka Byerse policii s tím, že jejich syn ohrožuje řeznickým nožem. K incidentu došlo v jeho rodném městě Market 3 ve státě Arkansas. V roce 1990 na něj majitelé klenotnictví, pro které Byers dříve pracoval, vznesli obvinění za údajnou krádež šperků v hodnotě $65 000. V červenci 1992 byl Byers zatčen za účelem prodeje kokainu a za nošení nebezpečné zbraně. Byl umístěn do okresní věznice v Memphisu. Krátce před vraždami v prosinci 1992 John Byers opět čelil obvinění z trestného činu týkajícího se ukradených hodinek Rolex v hodnotě $11 000. V průběhu několika let, která uplynula od Christopherovy smrti, se objevily důkazy naznačující, že John Mark Byers před vraždami spolupracoval s West Memphiskou protidrogovou policií jako tajný informátor. Možná i proto ho West Memphiská policie bránila a nezvážila možnost, že může být ve vraždách zapletený. Melissa Byersová zemřela 3 roky po vraždě svého syna Christophera. Příčina smrti Melissy byla v pitevní zprávě uvedena jako neurčená. V posudkové části pitevní zprávy bylo uvedeno, že nebyla zjištěna žádná specifická anatomická příčina smrti. Melissino srdce bylo údajně zvětšené. Byers v jednom článku uvedl, že byl velice zklamaný z toho, jak se pracovníci záchranky chovali k Melisse, která podle něj vypila trochu broskového šnapsu, než se oba v 3:30 uložili ke spánku. Když se ve 4:45 Byers probudil, snažil se ji vzbudit, ale už nereagovala. Test na přítomnost drog byl pozitivní na hydromorfon, ale negativní na alkohol. Hydromorfon, jeden z nejstarších a nejúčinnějších opioidů, byl syntetizovaný z morfinu roku 1924. Na Melissyně lebce byly nalezeny 2 pohmožděniny. Byly zaznamenány modřiny na rukou a na hlavě, ale soudní lékaři se nevyjádřili k tomu, jak k nim došlo. Vzniklo velké podezření, že John Mark Byers mohl mít se smrtí své manželky něco do činění. Byers dlouhou dobu pobíral invalidní důchod kvůli nádoru, který se podle jeho slov nachází v pravém předním mozkovém laloku. Kvůli nádoru prý nemohl dále pracovat. Býval klenotníkem a trpěl strašnými migrénami. Koncem roku 2007 John Mark Byers, který byl naprosto přesvědčen, že Echos, Miss Kelly a Baldwin jsou vinni, najednou oznámil, že změnil názor. Vyjádřil jsem se, že pokud se někdy prokáže, že ti 3 jsou nevinní, budu první, kdo provede kampaň za jejich osvobození, řekl v rozhovoru Byers. Využiju každé příležitosti, kterou budu mít, abych vyjádřil, že ti kluci jsou nevinní a že jejich důkazy dokazují, že to neudělali. Byers hovořil s médii ve prospěch odsouzených a vyjádřil touhu po spravedlnosti pro rodiny obětí i 3 obviněných.
This year, but that trial could have taken years to complete. So the judge again reiterating this was in the best interests, he said, for everyone.
This is not right, and the people of Arkansas need to stand up and raise hell because 3 innocent men are going to have to claim today that they're guilty for a crime they didn't know, and that's bullshit. Amen. They're innocent. They did not kill my son. And this is wrong, what the state of Arkansas is doing to cover their ass. Amen. And I'm sick of it. Amen. Because the real killer is walking around free.
Some are happy, some are angry, and some are perplexed, and that's the case at the end of every trial. And this one is no different. Guilt or innocence was never on the table. Today's proceedings allows the defendants to have the freedom to say that they're not guilty, but in fact, they just pled guilty. The legal tangle that has become known as the West Memphis 3 case is now finished.
David, with the Alfred plea, you had to say, for the court's purpose, that you're guilty of a crime that you profess to the judge that you did not commit.
Right.
Is this justice? Is this what you've been looking for? Is it bittersweet?
It's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means, but at least it brings closure to some areas and some aspects. You know, we can still bring up new evidence. We can still continue the investigations we've been doing. We can still try to clear our names. The only difference is now we can do it from the outside instead of having to sit in prison and do it. You know, this has been going on for over 18 years, and it's been an absolute living hell.
Were you concerned about the evidence that the defense was going to present at the upcoming evidentiary hearing, including juror misconduct, allegations of juror misconduct?
When the Supreme Court handed down this decision on November the 4th of last year, reopening issues of juror misconduct and everything and all these other matters on the basis of new DNA, then that caused some troubles. And this judge was most likely going to grant a new trial. And if this judge granted a new trial, the defendants most likely, I mean, we would do the best we could to put on the evidence, but most likely these defendants, the state believes, could very easily have been acquitted. Yes, ma'am.
Will the state continue to investigate this case if additional information is brought forth, or is the case closed?
I have no reason to believe that there was anyone else involved in the homicide of these 3 children but the 3 defendants who pled guilty today.
Let me just point out one aspect of what happened today. These men not only walked out, they created today, by this plea, to me, proof positive of their innocence and the state's recognition of it. Because does anyone believe that if the state had even the slightest continuing conviction that they were guilty, that they would let these men free today? It would have never happened, but to me, the state's acceptance of an Alford plea, in which they maintain their innocence, and releasing them is evidence of the state's recognition of their innocence.
What does this mean for the state of Arkansas today?
What?
The significance of this case and that this is over today, what does this mean?
Well, I think for the benefit of the state of Arkansas, in the office that I represent, it means that we have terminated prolonged litigation. We have terminated additional appeals and appeal hearings. We've also, as part of with their entry of a plea of guilty, we have removed the question of them filing a civil lawsuit against the state that could result in many millions of dollars. I can't say that that wasn't part of my thinking in resolving this case for the best of this state and for trying to move this case forward and end it.
This was not justice, you know. In the beginning, we told them nothing but the truth, that we were innocent, and they sent us to prison for the rest of our lives for it. And then we had to come here, and the only thing that the state would do for us was to say, hey, we'll let you go only if you admit guilt. And that's not justice, no matter how you look at it. They're not out there trying to find who really murdered those boys. And I did not want to take the deal from the get-go. However, they're trying to kill Damien, and sometimes you just got to bite the gun to save somebody.
I want to publicly thank Jason, too, just to let him know that I do acknowledge what he did, that he did want to keep fighting. He didn't want to take this deal in the beginning. And I recognize and acknowledge that he did do it almost entirely for me. Thank you.
I had something made, just the pros and cons of Terry Hobbs. This pretty well speaks for itself. 2 items that would be on the innocent side that he needed to try to restrain 3 victims. Some say that might be a little difficult. Not really. Once he hit one child, the other 2 probably froze like a deer in headlights. According to the medical reports, all 3 children, basically from blows to the head, would have died. And then possible secondary transfer, that's referring to his hair that was found in a ligature tied to one of the children. That's about all on the pro side you could find. Let's look at the guilty. Motive, means, and opportunity. He had a violent past, he worked in a slaughterhouse, and he admits being in the woods at 6:30. Terry Hobbs admits it. No one else puts him there, he puts himself there. No alibi. Can't count for the crucial times from 6:30 to 8, 8:30 to 9, 10 to 11:15, and from 2:30 to 5 a.m. That's a lot of gap in time of what were you doing, Mr. Hobbs? Where were you? Claims to have been with Jacoby. At times, Jacoby denies. Now, here's your own witness denying what you said. To me, that doesn't look too good. Not interviewed or cleared by the police. Now there, the West Memphis PD 101 totally fell on their face. They didn't go talk to Terry Hobbs and question him about what he did that night. They didn't treat him the way they treated me. Inconsistent statement. He never saw any of the boys that day. We know that's wrong. He was seen by 3 witnesses that were neighbors. That could have come out back on May 5th or 6th if the West Memphis PD would have canvassed that neighborhood. They just canvassed this neighborhood. Never went around and asked any of Hobbs' neighbors a word. They'd have told him that back then. He would have been caught in his lie then. He would have been the last person to have seen him. The police would have zeroed in on him instead of Damien, and they'd have got the real killer, and we would not be here talking today. I believe if this was presented to a jury, they would find Terry Hobbs guilty. This is more evidence and facts than against the West Memphis 3 or me or anyone else.